And today we're going to talk about, well, there aren't any chapters, but Miss Sadie's Divining Parlor, June 17, 1936, all the way to Private Ned Gillen, September 12th, 1918. Sort of like the chapter names. Or if you have a book like me, then it could be page 177 all the way to page 263. And so, this is the Moon and Moon Over Manifest, okay? By Claire Vanderpool. Just an amazing book. And yeah, I know I say lots of books are my all-time favorites. And this one is definitely one of my all-time favorites. It won the Newbery Medal, so it's really like the best of the best books. And yeah, I just hope that you really enjoy just doing this amazing book with me. And if this book's so amazing, what are we waiting for? Let's just dive in. Okay, so Miss Sadie's Divining Parlor, June 17th, 1936. So, do you think that Miss Sadie should have made Abilene work this hard just for some plants? Or what do you think about that? And also, what do you think is in the garden shed that Miss Sadie wants to hide? Maybe, yeah, I think there's some secret in there. But I don't know what that secret is, because I'm not kidding, but I haven't read to the end of the book. I'm right now reading as same as you guys, which like people, you might be like, but you need to read the whole book. Do a book club. Not the case. So I am actually like also scratching my head right now. So yeah, but but I'm already almost done. So but still, I have read all the way to where you are, and yeah, not much else. Okay, so now also, Abilene sort of felt like began to feel like the miners covered in grime, right? And do you think that Abilene, compared to the miners, who do you think worked harder? The miners or Abilene? Probably the miners, but still, I realize how Abilene felt about all this. Okay, but anyway, so Miss Sadie began to say this. The vein zigs where it should have zagged and runs right under the patch of ground between Devlin's mine and the town of Manifest, the widow Kane's property. Unfortunately, after her death, it was the only patch of ground that neither side could claim as their own. Another new story, right? But before we go there, what I wanted to talk about was, what do you think will happen? What's your prediction on, like, who do you think will win, the town of Manifest or Devlin's mine? Because, they can't have Devlin's mine have so much power, right? And the next chapter, which is also the story, is really, the name's really appropriate. No Man's Land, Okay, but anyway, so, now there's this problem, right? They can't have Devlin's mine have it, and they need to buy it, but it's like $1,000. There's nothing they can do, right? And so, I have a question, and it's, what are a few ways that they can earn a few $1,000s? Okay, how do you think that the people of Manifest can get the mine without them getting fired? Or do you think that's not possible? What do you think? So now the Hungarian woman, aka Miss Sadie, says, she begins to talk to people, and she's like, your parents and grandmothers and grandfathers, they worked for you to go to America. They would not be happy with you for you guys to just give up like this, right? And how do you think that Miss Sadie just touched a part of the people's souls that really just made them want to help more, that just encouraged them, made them stronger? How do you think that she did that? Like, what do you think that she did? It's sort of like magic. What do you think? But then again, we could also do this. What do you think she did? Okay, now Mrs. Larkin comes, right? Well, Mrs. Larkin, she came she came before, right? She came a little before, actually. But still, I just wanted to just really emphasize Mrs. Larkin because I forgot about that. So Mrs. Larkin here, do you think that she's gonna help any matters with everything, with like the raising money and stuff? I had a feeling no, right? And now, Jinx, so Jinx, was found out, right? And if you had been Jinx, do you think that you could have been more stealthy, or do you think that you would have done the same? Okay, but anyway, so the idea of Jinx, right? The idea of Jinx, we don't know it yet, but what did you like? How good do you think that the idea was that some people began to even agree with this? Do you think that this plan, whatever it is, do you think that's gonna work? Okay, there's a newspaper, right? And so I have a question. The Spanish influenza, do you think that's gonna go to manifest? What do you think? Okay. Now, Private Ned Gillen in an open field. So now there is a letter. Do you think that Ned's situation here, do you think that is good, or do you think that is terrible here? And do you think some people, they were blinded and all that, and if you had been someone and a soldier and you were going to war and you saw these people who were going the other way and they were blinded and hurt and all that, like, how would you feel toward what you were going to? Like, how would you feel? I would feel pretty terrified. I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to go, right? Yeah, I just want to be terrified. I would be terrified, yeah. Okay, but anyway, so they also learned that Eddie was killed, right? And he was shot a mile from there. And did you suspect that somebody was gonna die that they all knew? Or, and even if you did know, did that surprise you? Or were you like, it figured? I suspected that. What about, yeah, did you suspect that or not? Okay, now we're gonna go to one short, one long. They were jump roping and all that, right? And so they're having a pretty good time. But anyway, so, Miss Sadie's stories, they really just made the Wiggle King lure, Liberty has silver dollar, the Shady's cork, the tiny nesting doll, they made them suddenly, these stories made them important, right? Like, have you ever had an experience when the same thing sort of like that happened, or have you only read it from books? Now, do you know what the Barber of Seville did? And if you're really sensitive about your head or your ears, then don't listen to this, because I know what the Barber of Seville did. So, here's the thing. I'm gonna try to say this in 5 seconds, and just try to skip 5 seconds if you don't want to hear. Okay? I'm gonna say it as quick as possible. The Barber of Seville, by mistake, cut off an ear. I hope that was 5 seconds. If that was more, I am very sorry. Okay, or I mean, because I don't have a timer here, so yeah. Anyway, now we see Mrs. Evans, right? And did you ever suspect that Mrs. Evans could, just staring at you, could turn you into stone? And actually, do you think that Mrs. Evans actually is a nice person, or do you think that she's still a little creepy? So Ivan Devore, right? Do you think that he could be the Rattler? Not very sure, but I don't think so. But anyway, Ivan was writing a message of this: "Dear, miss you, home soon," right? And how do you think this made Aveline feel Aveline feel sad and lonely? Okay, now I have a question. Do you think that Aveline here in Manifest, do you think that she feels lonely? And I think that she does. Like, she has friends and all that, but I think that she does. But I'm not just gonna say the answer. That would be too easy. Try to figure out why I would think that maybe Aveline was very lonely, and maybe you could figure out this too. Yeah, she was lonely because she was sort of different from the other people, and she was sort of isolated from the others. Even if they all liked her, still she was a little different, and it sort of makes a difference. I mean, I like Aveline, but it's just she's just a little lonely because she's just so different from everybody else, even if she's really kind and nice. Okay, so how do you think that Aveline knew that, she was running and running? How do you think that she knew that she was going to get to Mercedes? And do you think that Aveline getting to Mercedes, do you think that is now sort of like a treat, or do you think it's still work? What do you think? So, do you think that Aveline deserves the compass by now, or do you think that she still needs to work out the deal? What do you think? Okay, now we're going to another awesome story, and it's called The Walls Go Up. Well, that's the title of the chapter that the story's in. So now Manifest, the influenza, the Manifest, right? So Arthur Devlin and everybody, they sort of went out, right? And then after that, it was sort of like a fake, right? And so what did you think about this plan? Because now we know, right? Do you think that's a good plan, or do you think that's going to be found out? And what's your estimate on how much money that this plan will make? And if you haven't one of the people in Manifest, would you have agreed with this, or would you be like, no way, we'll be caught? How would you do it? So, what these people are doing, it isn't honest, but it's for some good, right? So do you think that what they're doing is an honest business, or do you think it's lying and they shouldn't do it? What do you think? Okay, Mrs. Larkin comes. And do you think that Mrs. Larkin liked the idea of what was happening? Do you think that she liked it? No, right? And why do you think that Mrs. Larkin would not like it? Maybe it's just because it was led by Shady and Jinx. She does not like Shady and Jinx at all. Okay, so Shady, do you think that he's a very good preacher, or do you think that he's a terrible preacher? What do you think? Okay, so do you think that the influenza, the Spanish influenza, do you think that it's gonna ever sort of go down, or do you think it's gonna be really serious for a long time? And like COVID-19, the pandemic that I am right now in, maybe it's been over by the time you watch this video. Like, it could be 10 years later. I do not know. But I do know that that for right now, there's a pandemic called COVID-19. You probably heard of it. And right now, yes, nobody in my family, fortunately, has been affected yet. But we're because we're very cautious. We wear masks, we wash our hands, we just try to stay healthy as we can. Okay, but anyway, so do you think that the Spanish influenza is right now sort of affecting the World War One in a way so that people will die and someone might lose? Or do you think that both sides all have their weaknesses and it's gonna be okay? So I have a question, and it's you know the ode to the Rattler, right? Do you think that anybody's actually gonna find the ode to the Rattler soon? And now also, what did you think about this letter? Like, how did it make you feel? It made me feel a little sad, but still, I like it. It sort of made me happy at the same time. Okay, now we're gonna go to a chapter that's actually just called Ode to the Rattler. Yeah, pretty cool, right? So we're gonna have to see what that is all about. Now, so, you know, they want to go into the school so that they could see the Ode to the Rattler. Do you think that they should do this? And do you think that the Ode to the Rattler is a serious thing, or do you think it's just something that isn't interesting and they shouldn't find it out? What do you think? And also, if you have been one of the students who worked in the not worked, but had been a student and had to write papers and all that, what would you have written the Ode to the Rattler or any poem? I don't know. I have to think about that. Maybe, yeah, like everybody else underneath. Okay, but anyway, so there are lots of poems, right? And so, I'm gonna read all of them. So here's one. Here I sit, my eyelids sagging, while teacher's tongue just won't quit wagging. What about that? Or my mind wanders, my attention drifts. Outside it looks like heaven, till Mrs. Espin calls on me and says, "Do problems 1 through 7." And another is, I hear an explosion. What could it be? It's chemistry class with Miss Velma T. Another one is, and now to the Ode to the Rattler. He roams through the woods, prowling the night, rattling to wake the dead. The dogs sniff and bark, chasing this ghost, but only come back well fed. What is he up to? Where does he go? Is he a skeleton clattering alone? The Rattler is watching, he knows who you are, maybe he'll throw you a bone. But anyway, so, what was your favorite poem? I really like this one. It was this one. Here I sit, my eyelids sagging, while teacher's tongue just won't quit wagging. I like that one a lot. Okay, but anyway, then the janitor came, right? And what did you predict was going to happen? Luckily, they did not get caught, right? And did you have a feeling that Abilene was going to be caught? But anyway, now we actually learn the meaning of manifest. It means this: a list of passengers on a ship. And that's a noun. And a verb was this: to reveal, to make known. So why do you think that the author of this book named it the town Manifest? It got to mean something. What do you think it means? And it's to reveal, to make known. Has anything been revealed and made known? Maybe some of the history here and how fascinating it is. But we're gonna have to read all the way to the end really to understand, right? Now, I have a question, and it's, do you think that the janitor, do you think that the janitor could have caught Abilene, or do you think that Abilene couldn't have been caught? Or what do you think? Like, if things had gone differently, what do you think? Okay, now, drawing straws, July 11th, 1936. Now, so we learned that other people actually do sort of know about the Rattler hunt, right? And why do you think that Mrs. Cooper, Mrs. Dawkins, like, why do you think they are sort of saying what they are saying here? And, you know, and do you think, you know, Mrs. Cooper's father could not have been the Rattler? And do you actually believe Mr. Cooper or not? I believe Mr. Cooper. Now, so, why do you think that, you know, Abilene was talking about fair, you know, baking contests, right? Do you think that she said the right thing or not? And how do you think that what she said, it made people think of a lot of memories, right? And how do you think that this sort of helped the people in a way? Well, it sort of helped us remember the good old days and sometimes the not so good old days. And Manifest has a history. It has a really rich, awesome history that just shouldn't be forgotten, right? And so, yeah, and so I think that it just helped the people a lot, I think, yeah. Anyway, Margaret, right? So Miss Evans said that her Margaret won, you know, and so do you think that we're gonna hear of this Margaret in the stories or now? We're not. We're gonna have to find out. It's getting just really exciting. So yeah, yeah, it's getting real exciting. Okay, so now Miss Sadie's Divine and Parla. I don't know why I say it so fancy. I just like it saying it that way. Okay, so before we go on, I have a question. So this author, Claire Vanderpool, she writes in a way I really like. She uses a lot of figurative language and it just makes you just think more deeply about everything. And like, for example, the first sentence of this book is this: the movement of the train rocked me like a lullaby. Good beginning. And let's have any simile that you can make, okay? And after you make any simile, any comparison, then try to make a metaphor about cake. Okay. Now, why do you think that you know, Abilene could not find Margaret Evans in the cemetery? Where do you think that she was buried? Or do you think that she's still alive? What do you think? So Miss Sadie went into another awesome story, and it's called Distribution, or that's actually the name of the chapters that the story's in. So the business began to boom, right? And after that, did you actually think that this was going to work, or did you think there was going to be some catch soon? But anyway, how much money do you think that Jinx and Shady are going to make, and how much people do you think they're going to make better? I think a lot of people, right? Okay, who do you think that Jinx saw that he didn't want to remember? Who? Uncle Finn? Okay, and do you think that this person is going to come back to try to get Jinx, or what do you think that this person is going to do? Or do you think it was just a trick of the mind? What do you think? So now, Burton wanted to see the man, the buried man, right? And so, but it was actually just a hog, right? Dead hog. And so do you think that this trick didn't work for now, right? And do you think that it's going to work again, or do you think that it's going to be caught? And also another question I have is, do you think that you know, fooling Lester Burton, right? But Lester Burton, how did he get all this information? Where did he get this information, in your opinion? Strange, right? Could it be the Rattler? And again, who do you think that the Rattler is? Okay, so now, wow, we're already to the end of today's chapters. It went by so quickly today. Okay, so we are going to actually go a little back, but before that, Private Ned Gillen's, right? You know, old Shep, the captain, right? And they all were saluting and whistles and all that. And in the end, how did you feel about all this? And can you actually hear the sounds in your ears? I could. And do you think that anybody else is going to get killed or not? And how do you think that how do you think that this author made it so that you could actually hear and feel how they all felt? How do you think that she did this? Well, she just really had a lot of figurative language again, and she just really described everything so beautifully. Okay, but anyway, how do you think that saying something in words is better than in paper, or do you think that, or is it vice versa in your opinion? What's more important, words, paper? Well, of course, like saying out loud, paper, because words can also be written on paper. Okay, so now I have a question. Do you think that Burton here do you think that Burton will get fooled over and over again, or do you think that he's gonna catch on? And also, do you think how many bottles of this whiskey / elixir do you think that Sadie and Jinx, not Sadie, but Shady and Jinx are going to sell? My estimate, over 100, that's for sure. Okay, maybe 200 or 300, I'm not very sure. But I hope that they have a good business, you know? And also I have a question. What do you think is gonna happen in the next chapters? We're gonna just read to the end now. And what do you think is gonna happen? Like, do you think that they're gonna be caught? How much money? Who do you think is going to get Widow Kane's land? All of this is just really exciting, and we're gonna have to find out in the next chapters, okay? But anyway, hope that you really enjoyed doing Moon Over Manifest with me. So, a few last questions. What was your favorite part in the chapters that we just reviewed, which was, I think that you remember. Me? Forgot. It should be somewhere in here. I think it was June 17th. Miss Sadie's Divining Parlor, June 17th, all the way to Private Ned Gillen, September something, okay? And then all the way to Private Ned Gillen. I think that was it. Even that, I'm pretty sure you remember. And then the whole book. We've read so much of the book, 3/4. So you must know, what's your favorite part of the whole book? And if you can't choose, then do like a 2 or maybe 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or I don't care. Or you could just do I can't choose in the whole book, okay? But anyway, also, what was your favorite character? I just have to say Aveline. I like Aveline. Or Jinx, I can't choose. Aveline at times and Jinx at times, because Jinx is also a pretty cool character in my opinion. And then, what about your least favorite character? Devlin? Or Arthur Devlin? Or the other guy. Who was his name? Okay. I have some bad things about my memory. Or Lester Burton. So, yeah, Lester Burton and Arthur Devlin. I hated them, so you can do multiple of them. Okay, and so, also, how did you like the book? Always fun to see how you like the book. Even if I can't hear, put in the comments below. And so, yeah, how did you like the amazing book? I loved it, of course. And finally, the last thing I'm going to ask you is, okay, I already asked you about the prediction, but I have another question that involves prediction, and it is, in the end, do you think that Gideon is going to come to Abilene, or do you think that Abilene is going to stay in Manifest? What do you think is going to happen? Or you can think of your own scenario. Okay, guys, Hope that you really enjoyed doing Moon Over Manifest with me by Claire Vanderpool. Just read to the end of the book next time. It's just an amazing book. I love this book. Hope that you really like the book so far too. Keep reading because it's awesome. Have a great rest of your day or night. Because like today is right now. It's night. If someone says, have a great rest of your day, I'm like, what about me? And so I just want to say, and also night must be feeling very sad. So we'll have a great rest of your day or night. And just, yeah, keep reading, okay? And I hope that you had a great time with me. And so, before you go, though, quick thing. You know, Abilene Man said something about Hoovervilles earlier on in the story. I just want to say one thing about it. It's that, now, Hoovervilles here, it was named after President Hoover, who in his reign, not his reign, he sounds like a king, but in his presidency, like the depression he got from bad to worse, and so people thought, so people sort of blamed him at times, and maybe he did have something to blame. I do not know, but anyway, that's why the Hoovervilles, which are sort of like little huts and shanty towns, sort of like those, and that was where unemployed men and families sometimes lived. I just wanted to tell you that. But anyway, again, hope that you had a great time with me. Have a great rest of your day or night. Keep reading because it's awesome and it makes your brain bigger and bigger and stronger because the brain is like a muscle. Keep exercising the brain. And one of the things you can do is reading. And yeah, finish Moon Over Manifest and do all the awesome things you can do in your life because life is awesome.